Hey, check this out.
Many times in my daily life, fear stops me from doing small things and bigger things. Fear from failure, fear from maybe from rejection sometimes. How to overcome this fear?
You cannot overcome something which does not exist. Right now, are you in fear? Right now. That I may say something damaging. Is it the fear? Every moment of your life you're in fear? No. So, when you're not in fear, just stay like that. Because to create fear, you have to use excessive imagination. To not be in fear, you don't have to do anything. Fear is happening because of excessive imagination, things that have not happened, you're creating. What may happen in your mind happens in 1,000 different formats, and most probably it never happens. The things that you feared, take 100 things that you have feared, probably 99 of them never happened, isn't it? Yes. So your fear is always about that which does not exist. You cannot fight or you cannot overcome that which does not exist.
This is really good information for all of us. Sadhguru explains how fear arises because of excessive imagination. Instead of producing horror movies in our mind, produce a comedy, a love story, or suspense thriller. So Des, what are your thoughts on Sadhguru saying fear is not real?
This is very interesting, and a lot of people don't see it this way because they've already been conditioned to have fear in their brains about different things that they're afraid of. But in reality, fear is not real. Like he said, a lot of us are afraid of things that will never happen and has never happened before, but we're just still afraid of it because that's just the way we've programmed ourselves, probably from seeing something, maybe something happened, and we just pretty much trained ourselves to be afraid. Like, for instance, people that are afraid of dogs. There are some people that are just really afraid of dogs. You know, they don't know why, they're just afraid of them. But this can be the friendliest dog in the world, and these people would just have this extreme fear of the dog to the point where they're panicking and like going crazy over this dog, and the dog is just sitting there. And they don't even realize that this fear is just something that's in their brain that they've trained themselves to be fearful of, when really there's nothing to be afraid of. So this is really interesting that he's saying this. I really hope people will understand that fear is not real, that they can actually think about something else that makes them happy, and eventually they'll forget about fear.
Exactly, and that's a great example. The fear may seem like it's real, but it's really not. Even though we go through like these experiences and emotions of the fear, it's all really in our heads. We create these different outcomes that could possibly happen, like, oh, if I were to go out and do this, this is gonna happen, and then we create a million more, and it's only gonna make us more afraid, but none of them, like he said in the video, actually really happens. And it's really funny because I end up doing the same thing sometimes, and so usually they never really happen. And so it's kind of crazy, like when you really think about it, it's not really real. It's just something that we created in our minds and made it seem bigger than what it is.
That's exactly right. Now, I do know that some people have actually experienced things like maybe a dog bite, or maybe they've experienced something that was tragic that can cause fear. Yes, that did happen to them, but the fear of it happening again is still not real. It could happen, but there's nothing really to be fearful about because something could happen in a different area they're not even afraid of. So, but I totally get where some people have actually had different things experienced, that they've experienced different things that could still cause fear, but they still have to realize that it's still not real. It's just something that you put into your head because of that incident that happened. Imagine if that incident that happened created excitement and you wanted to do it again, so you wouldn't be fearful then. So you're only fearful because you put that into your head.
You're right. The fear that we have is all in our head, and we can overcome this fear by not letting it control us. So Des, what are your thoughts on something that's clearly dangerous? Should they be afraid then?
That's a great question, and it's actually interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the most memorable lines from the movie After Earth, starring Will Smith and Jaden Smith, The line was, fear is not real. It is a product of thoughts you create. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. What he's talking about is when you see something that's clearly dangerous, like if you're out in the wilderness or in the woods, maybe deer hunting, and you come up on a bear and that bear is coming towards you, you don't want to sit there and just say, hey, fear is not real, because that bear is actually real and the bear is actually dangerous and it can attack you. And when it does, you could die. So that's actually real. But fear is actually a choice, because most of the time people create these fears in their mind that aren't real, won't even be real, and they'll just continue to let that fear control them.
That's a great point. Danger and fear are very two different things. Danger deals with your life being put at risk, and fear is stopping you from accomplishing your goals or achieving something that you really want to do. You have to know the difference between the two, so that way you can control and put them in balance.
That's exactly right. So instead of producing so many so-called fearful things into your mind that's basically creating a false imagination of fear, start producing things that you know for a fact makes you laugh and happy. Eventually, you won't even know what fear is anymore. These quotes will inspire you to produce happiness into your mind and life without fear disrupting your life. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. And lastly, which is my favorite one, fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. Remember, fear is not real. So stay humble and stay focused on your goals and have a practical perspective. Life is how you see it.